All new Pacific Mornings with Will on 531 PI.
This is Pacific Mornings on 5:31 p.m. I'm William Terite. It's great to have your company this Friday. Would love to hear from you. Pacific Mornings at pmn.co.nz, on our Facebook page 531 PI, or on the text machine as well, 531. Now, not many people know that All Black great Keven Mealamu, who played 132 tests for New Zealand, also has a deep passion for the arts. Now, recently appointed to the Creative New Zealand board, Mealamu has used his artistic talents to illustrate children's books for charity and has been an ambassador for Te Tumutoi, the Arts Foundation. He joins us now to discuss his new appointment. Talofa lava, Keven. Thanks so much for your time.
Talofa lava, William. Good morning and happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed. Hey, look, I just want to start off. Basically, this is a real surprise for some, I'm sure, in terms of your interest in the arts. It kind of begs the question, where did it come from? And I suppose, what are your influences, right?
Well, thank you, William. I think art and is something that actually I've been around since I was a kid, and I'd seen a lot of it from my mum and from my uncles when I used to go around my grandparents' house. Their work would always be up around the house, and it was something that I always had a passion for. I was that sort of person actually. When I used to go on rugby tours, I'd have I'll take along with me an art pad. So yeah, surrounded by it when I was growing up, and also had a passion for it at school. I did art and graphics as well. It was what my two loves at school was in that sports realm and being on the field, but also being able to dabble a little bit with art as well. So it's been a big part of my life growing up. I've seen it, I've been around it, and it's awesome to be in a position where we can help support it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm keen to perhaps dig a bit deeper into your artistic skills when it comes to illustrations, right? Talk us through that and the sort of work you've done.
Yes, I was for a long time I was privileged to be a Barfoot and Thompson ambassador for Starship, and having the chance to be able to illustrate children's books. I did that for about a decade, um, and alongside some really good artists as well. So just the opportunity to be able to contribute back to community and back to our kids as well. That probably was the vehicle, but just getting a chance to, while I was playing rugby, it was that thing that sort of took my mind away from rugby. It allowed me to show to express myself in a different way as well. But also getting a chance to play in front of thousands, 80,000 people. Probably putting work out there was harder than playing being able to play in front of that many people. Getting a chance to illustrate and have people look at my work and probably judge it as well. That probably was a lot harder for me than stepping out onto the rugby field.
Wow, okay. Fascinating insight there. Look, let's. Speaking of rugby, I mean, you're on the Rugby New Zealand board as well, but what do you think you can bring to the board of Creative New Zealand, right?
Well, I definitely feel, since I've finished playing rugby, that working in that space of governance, I've been lucky enough to do that for about 7 to 8 years. So I've got some experience of governance under my belt. I've also had a chance to work in, I've done a term in local board as well in Papakura. So understanding what funding looks like, and just that opportunity to be able to put a lens of Pacifica in this space. And I'm hoping that what I can bring to this space as well, some sound decisions, and with with a lens of being a South Aucklander, being a Pacific Islander, and living in a family that has that diversity as well. So I'm hoping I can bring all these different views, perspectives, and skill sets to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, Pacific practitioners are very active in the arts scene. There's no denying that. I suppose, what are your thoughts about the Pacific artistic landscape? And what I mean by that is perhaps the challenges in the artistic landscape at the moment, and even the opportunities.
I, probably when I think about the challenges is understanding, there's probably a generation that probably looked at the arts and would think that that actually wouldn't be a pathway to a career. And but when I look at our Pacifica and understand the depth and knowledge and the talent that we have in this art space and being able to display our culture through our arts, I think it's something that we do very well. So I think probably probably the challenge is changing a mindset and understanding that when this is done really well, it can definitely be a pathway to a career. And where I think what are the opportunities in this space is being able to make sure we can help change that mindset. We can help move people into the space and support them. A big part of being on this creative arts board as well was understanding that it's our job to make to be able to get this opportunity out to people, and especially people from the Pacific as well, because it's something that it's a strength of what we do. We naturally are talented in the arts and displaying our culture in that as well.
Yes, and look, I want to dig into something that specifically happened. Speaking of Pacific Arts, Creative New Zealand faced backlash for funding their stage adaptation of The Savage Colonizer, for example. Even politicians weighing in on the argument, with critics arguing it promoted divisive themes. With that in mind, how do you see Creative NZ's role in supporting challenging or controversial art in the first place?
Hey, I think that's something that is worth for me, especially being new to the sport, is understanding what that looks like. Understanding that every artist has the freedom to be able to express has a opportunities to express what they see and how they see it as well. Um, but when I look at this opportunity, but when I look of what that had looked like, or that situation, is just understanding. It's good understanding for me, understanding how people have looked at that, how decisions have been made around that. And for me as a new board member on this, it's it's being able to support the artists through them sharing ideas, being able to share their stories and experiences. And so I think it's being understand the full depth of what it is that we're sharing, what is it that we're seeing and understanding.
Yeah, that's a good point raised there. Hey, look, let's turn our attention to the recent overhaul of Creative New Zealand's funding model, which has raised concerns about perhaps uncertainty for some arts organisations, particularly those reliant on, say, long-term funding. With that in mind, what's your view on whether some organisations should be given multi-year funding to help maintain stability in the sector?
Hey, it's definitely something, if we had if it was we were able to do things exactly the way we would want to, most definitely we'd try and get those multi-year funding out to artists. That would always be a goal for us. But obviously, we're a tough economic climate at the moment. So understanding that everything's has changed, and that's the way it is at the moment. But when I look at what does my role look like in this space, it's being able to understand that what I do in this space is being able to create the focus of what is our strategy, what does the direction look like for Creative New Zealand, and then with what we've got, working within the funding models, being able to try and create those opportunities that we talked about before. How do we grow in this space? What does success look like? Are we able to make the arts and Aotearoa sustainable? So there's some things we're in control of, but not everything. So what the funding that we have to work with, that's my role to be able to make that sustainable and create those opportunities for growth in this space.
Yeah, and look, traditionally Pacific parents have tried to steer kids away from the arts or into creative spaces, into, regular jobs. I mean, I'm a victim of that growing up. I was, told perhaps don't pursue a career in media because, it's too airy-fairy. What's your view on that?
Hey, well, I think times are changing, and I think as a parent as well, I understand that we really want our children to be successful. Then they've got to be doing things that they really love and enjoy, and that they're good at as well. So, I think that's changing, and a part of that as well is from where I sit in this role as well, is to be able to show that this is a pathway for our young people. This is something that, if it's done well, our job is to make sure we can support our young people choosing to take this pathway through to a career. So I definitely think it's changing. As we start to see our youth be really successful in this space, I think the light on it's changing. The lens is starting to look a little bit different from some of our parents, but I think it's also part of my role to be able to open people's eyes to that. But I definitely believe we're starting to see a change in what that looks like, and that's purely because our talented young people are starting to lead the way in that space.
Absolutely. Hey, before we wrap it up, any final thoughts from yourself?
No, I'm really excited in this to be able to be appointed to this role. I hope I can serve all our communities well in this space, and it's for me, when I look at this opportunity as well, it's another opportunity to grow. So I'm very excited. I hope I can bring something special to this space, and when I look at who's there with me on the board as well, it's a great space to be able to be working alongside some awesome people.
Absolutely. Hey, thank you very much for your time. That is Keven Mealamu there, a recent appointee of the Creative New Zealand Board. You have a good weekend when you get to it, eh?
Thank you, Andrew. Take care.
Cheers.